Crystal Simons, the VP of Sales for the Fine Estates team.
We have one-on-ones. We're always training, motivational quotes, keep them pumped up. We let them know how proud we are of them. Always a learning experience for them.
Your actions become your habits become your beliefs. And then those beliefs just really turn into a deep down conviction that you can use in your business. Let's rewind a little bit, because if your team isn't clear on your goals, you can't be clear with them.
Taking the team's goals to ultimately run with your goal for the team.
From wine country to cottage country, real estate is all about lifestyle. I'm Andrew Perrie, and welcome to That Fine Life. Welcome back to another episode of That Fine Life. I am your host, Andrew Perrie, and this is the podcast where we ask all the hard-hitting questions. We interview sales agents, entrepreneurs, CEOs, business owners, and we really try to find out how to live that fine life. So today, Sam, wait, sorry, pause the show. Can you get a drum roll? Nick, the other guy here, just go drum. Crystal Simons, the VP of Sales for the Fine Estates team. She's freaking out.
I feel my face going
She's
red.
freaking out. She doesn't even know what we just did there, but that's what we call a fake switcheroo. It was a fake pause and a switcheroo. So welcome to the show, Crystal Simons, the
Thank you for
VP
having me.
of the Fine Estates team, the Vice President of Sales. I appreciate you coming on the show, because that means that you're not out there in the field making us money. You're pausing.
For a moment, just for you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today is going to be super, super cash. Like most of our episodes are super, super professional. This one's going to be cash, so don't worry.
Well, that's kind of how I am, though.
Good. So I want to take this time, just quickly, brief us about your role on the team, and then we'll just kind of get started from there.
So I oversee our team and keep them on track with goals. Help them with their listing appointments, any questions that they have to help continue their growth in the business.
And what does that look like? I mean, so on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis, walk us through, how you support the team and maybe how you hold them accountable.
Well, we meet as managers on Monday and discuss what we're going to talk with them on Tuesdays for our team meeting. We have one-on-ones. We're always training. I reach out daily with emails, motivational quotes, keep them pumped up. Whenever they do sales, we let them know how proud we are of them. And even if those sales fall through, because it's always a learning experience for them. Yeah,
of course. Now, so on our team meetings, how do we, what are we laying out for them, or what are we trying to achieve through those meetings that are, then going to come back on our accountability meetings on Friday?
So we basically set their goals on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we review their goals to keep them on track, what they've laid out for their year. But we break it down basically weekly.
Absolutely. And I think it's it's funny because we had our little managers meeting today.
2 hours.
Oh shit, sorry. But you're reading a book called Traction.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm about to say is kind of what you said this morning, where AP quotes or AP-isms.
Yeah, I'm literally chapter 4, I think. And this morning he was really pushing out the quotes, and I was like, whoa, that's AP. That's AP. And then you said you haven't even read the book yet.
No, I haven't. But the quotes, each quote that, wherever they stemmed from, whether it be, what is the name? Charles Doug, I love him. Ford, Einstein, I love a couple of his, or Gary Vee or Tony Robbins, like whoever it is, they're all basically, when you really break it down to the center of each quote, they're almost all regurgitated from whoever stated the original, which I don't know. Napoleon Hill, who knows? But I think, where right down to its fundamentals is something, the reason why I hammer them home so much is because it will start to create that mindset that leaders need. And if you can package it up in one little saying that you remember, it will always be in the front of your mind. And then things just kind of stem off that. It's like, your daily affirmations. It's like why we do your yearly planner. Why do we break it down into months, into days, into measurable goals? Is because after a while, those thoughts become your habits, and your habits, or your actions become your habits become your beliefs. And then those beliefs just really turn into a deep down conviction that you can use in your business and like, because now I've seen a massive growth in you where it would be for even just, daily struggles with the team. We'd have you be like, okay, so where do you want to go with this? And you'd be like, well, I don't know.
I
Right.
say I don't know a lot.
Right. But that's good. That's a good thing.
But I feel I do know. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but I feel a lot better now. Like I've taken your
Right.
direction, and I think the team's grown a fair bit in the last few months.
I would certainly agree. Absolutely. 2022, we had our best year yet.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with that is that now that you have those habits created for yourselves, those belief systems, the leadership um, capabilities, I want to say, or abilities are almost just flowing through you now, where it's like, okay, I know what to do here because my goals are clear. I know how I want to get to them. And this is exactly what we need to do, what you need to do for me in order for me to hit my goals, because that's clear too.
Yeah.
And what did we learn last week? That not only do you need to be, and this help, see, I'm learning every day too, because obviously I communicate what we want as a team, but you asked me to be more clear with you on those goals.
Yeah.
Because if your team isn't clear on your goals, you can't be clear with them. And it's, that's just how things get mixed up, lost in translation, whatever you want to call it.
Because it's basically taking the team's goals to ultimately run with your goal for the team.
That's right. So now let's rewind a little bit. So tell us, how long have you been in the business? And, how did you transition in full time? Maybe you just start from the absolute beginning. When did you get your license?
I got my license just over 6 years ago, and I was working full time as a manager. And then, so I was solo for 4 years, still managing the Avondale, which I can say Avondale.
Of course you
Oh, okay.
can. Yeah.
I didn't know if we had to.
No,
And then
you can
you were
say Max
hiring.
Milk. You can say whatever you want. I'm
You
just
were
kidding.
hiring.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, I have never really tried to be on a team. Like I was flowing through real estate, what I thought was good enough, but it's because I had that second income too. So I didn't really know. You hired me on, and growth just started to happen quickly. Like I think the
Right.
first thing I got was mentorship with Revel.
Right.
So I mentor our Niagara on the Lake office. And then not long after that, you hired me as the VP. So I've been technically, as you say, I've been full-time real estate for 2.5 years.
Right.
You don't account my other years as being in the business.
No, because I mean, it's cool that you said, you thought you were doing good, or like thought, hey, it's okay, I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that when you look back, because it's amazing. I remember when I was in my first sales gig, and 120, 150 was like a lot of money. And granted, it still is for most people, but I don't want to be most people. I want to be me, and I want to be future me, and I want to be set up. And it's amazing as you look back and you feel like, wow, how limited my thinking was, So, okay, you said a lot. You packaged your entire career in like literally 20 seconds.
Right.
So, what was it that you were kind of going through in those first 4 years that you were still working at the Avondale? What did the business look like at the time?
It didn't look like a business.
That was cool. I love how you just said that. That
I
was good.
guess I come from full customer service background. So ever since I was 15, the jobs I had, Sam the Record Man, and then the Avondale. So my service comes across differently than the service you have to give in real estate.
Yep.
So when I was doing the 4 years, coinciding with that, my business was from my customers at the Avondale, right? Because
Yeah.
they knew me there, they built that trust in me. But I never could fully talk about myself being in real estate while still doing that. Because sometimes people would look at me too. I'm the girl behind the counter.
Right.
What do I really know about real estate, even though I sell it?
Right.
So, and then when I joined your team, you were really like, okay, like, what are you going to do? And ultimately, the goal was never to do both jobs. It's just
Right.
something I grew comfortable with. And then having that monthly paycheck was always like, "Ooh, okay,
Mhm.
that's coming in."
'Cause we didn't start working together right away,
Nope,
did we?
nope.
No. Did you have to come back for a second interview?
So you're actually like, am I allowed to say funny things
Yeah,
about you?
of course. You
You
can trash
actually,
talk me all you want.
you are actually really bad for getting a hold of people. I'll never forget. So when I saw you hiring, like obviously
Yeah.
other teams have been hiring before, you pushed me out of my comfort zone like this right
Uh-huh.
now.
Yeah.
So I knew your social media presence was huge. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this a go. So you brought me in. We had an interview. It
Uh-huh.
took you like 2.5, 3 weeks to get back to me. I was
Uh-huh.
about ready to tell you don't bother. Imagine where you'd be now.
So, I'll just tell you something. Anybody who knows me, and you know me now, but we've never talked about this. So
Right.
this is cool. You're getting an exclusive look to this inside conversation. I actually have a very good response time, almost seconds. Actually, most of my clients will say I'm a one ring wonder,
You usually are. So what took
right?
you so long?
It was a test, Crystal.
Oh.
This entire relationship is a test. Don't you see? No, it was because this is cool that you said this because now I'm getting a little vulnerable now. I was a little worried that I really did not want to replicate the failure of my first team.
Right.
Number one, there was a lot of things different about the second time around. Um, Number one, I didn't want to let anybody down. I didn't want this team to fail. And I was looking for the most inexpensive way to grow my business selfishly as possible. Because remember, it was not about growing. I didn't necessarily want it to start a full on team. I wanted somebody that could basically handle my overflow, et cetera, at the beginning. So, two things I did right, and that was being cautious about who I was bringing on, being aware of the mistakes that I previously made. But then there was one really big mistake, and that was basically doing hiring a team or starting the team from the beginning based on my selfish goals and not and again, it's okay to have a goal, and the reason why you start a business or a team is to have your goal. That's the whole point. Or else why would I do it? I don't even
Right.
know my future agents yet. Why would I? It's not about that, but it was the way I wanted to use your time, and that's what I did wrong. And it didn't take me until maybe the year after until I started realizing that, I think. Did you feel that at all, or were you aware of kind of our relationship at the beginning?
No, no, not at all. Sometimes I almost felt like I'm like, okay, I know I'm on this team, but I didn't really know where my place was in
Yeah.
the team. Um, I think it's just recently been probably the last 10 to 12 months
Mhm.
that we've really built like a
Yes,
solid relationship in the business, I think.
that's
If
right.
that, yeah.
And it has nothing to do with your efforts or um, your production or anything like that. It was all just based on because I didn't know what I wanted, and I didn't know how to. The reason why I didn't know how to be the leader that I'm somewhat today was just basically because I was still
Figuring it
searching,
out. Yeah.
still figuring it out. But I'm glad you stuck around,
Yeah.
obviously. So now tell me, what does the business look for you now? And I'd like it to kind of be like a side by side. Here's your before, here's your after kind of thing.
Okay. So like from what, my first year to now, or
Yeah.
uh geez. Well, last year I had an amazing year.
Yes, you did.
I actually I don't even think it has settled in. A lot of people talk to me about, how I've done in the business, and I still just kind of have that like, oh yeah, I sell houses.
Hmm.
My first year I think I did 6 deals.
Hmm.
Um
Which is
e-
still pretty decent for a first year.
yeah, every year it's grown a bit more.
Hmm.
But I think last year I did 30
Yeah, I know.
on my own. Yeah.
So the coolest thing is that Crystal's kind of being humble here is that
But I always am. That's why these
right.
things
Oh
make me
yeah.
nervous.
That's what we'll get into as well. Why, you're in the role that you're in. And I didn't just do it myself. I'll tell you all that. You already know, but no, Crystal. Okay, so I've been a top producer since I started, and I take it very seriously. I take the business seriously. I take my clients seriously, customer service, marketing, media, all that stuff. And let's just say that last year, all the numbers are in. At Revel, we don't do awards. We don't do any of that stuff. We try to be competitive from a collaborative standpoint. Not, we don't do the rankings is what I'm trying to say. But let's just say I was in the top of the brokerage. Won't say
Congratulations.
when. Yeah. But Crystal was ahead of me.
And you know what, though? I look at it as I'm ahead of you because of the team, because
Right.
of what you've
Absolutely.
given.
And I was behind you because of the team. And
Yeah.
I was in the position that I was in because of the team.
Yeah. I
And
also beat you in the Reader's Choice, too.
oh shit, that's right. What did I get?
Second.
Second?
Remember when you called me with that one too? You're like,
Oh,
hey, I got second place in the Reader's Choice.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, oh, who beat you? And then you were like, well, it was you.
So, yeah. So if anybody knows me, my clients especially, my team gets this a lot. I try to do it to Gabe, but she's like, would you fuck off? Right? She just hates when, are you doing that thing? But my clients, I'll be like, yeah, I just got to call you. Oh, we didn't get it, did we, Andrew? No, you got it, but now you got to pack your bag. I know everybody hates me for it, but I like to just kind of make that feeling last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing. Okay. And then so where we're going into the VP role is because we're on a team 98.9% women to men, right? So, naturally it's going to be difficult for me, a male, to effectively communicate on any given topic at any given day. So I guess it started when you and I consult in you a lot and be like, what is the team feeling? What have I done wrong? What can I do better? So it took a little while because everything was good. And then and then friction and the tension started happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how different is it now that, we have kind of that buffer between between myself and the team, I mean?
I think things are running smoothly now.
Yeah.
Better than ever. Like, I communicate with you when you feel necessary, you communicate with them, but I still think the team knows that they have an open door to you at any time if need be, right? Like,
Right.
everyone's pretty open about how they feel about things.
A little too open sometimes, right?
Yeah, but that's the woman to men thing.
Right.
Like, I always say, oh, this is our team lead at my
Yeah.
listing presentations, but I tell them, of course, like, that doesn't really matter. We're the women, we lead the
Right.
team.
We're
Yeah.
running the show. But I think I meant more of like our team's pretty open. Sometimes too open, right? They, like to make fun of me too much is what I'm trying to say. But where did you think maybe the disconnect was? Did you sense any of that or?
Not really. I don't think it had anything to do with the way you did things.
Mm.
Right?
No?
No.
Okay, fine. Andrea might say
You're
different.
expecting me to say something. No, I seriously, I don't.
I'm an interviewer. I'm trying to
I'm
dig
trying
out.
not to say anything where, like, I feel right now we have a good blend of people on the
I
team.
agree.
Sometimes not everybody, goes down the same path or has the same mindset of what they want to do. So then it adds the tension to the team.
Right.
Right? I don't think it has any, because people didn't join your team to not work with you.
That's right.
So that's kind of the way you got to look at it too, right?
So this is kind of funny, and I was talking to Gabe about this the other day. People may have joined because of me, but they're staying because of you.
Oh, well, obviously.
Right?
No.
So what do you think, helps? Okay, so let's break it down like this. So stats came out, we're 0.09%. So that put us number 14 out of 1,516 agents, according to total sales volume rankings by the Niagara Association of Realtors. So that's every brokerage, etc. What do you think, if you could break it down in, 1, 2, 3 things as to what leads a team, a successful team, to kind of hit those types of numbers?
I think it's the relationships that we have with our clients. Like,
Hmm.
we don't treat them just as a business or a transaction. Like, I know a
Right.
lot of my clients, I go out for dinner with them,
Hmm.
and I think that has to do with my customer service background,
Yeah.
where I don't come from sales, I come from providing service, right? So, and I think that they just see that down to earth
Yeah.
personality from us, but with the branding that you've built and the Fine Life method that we
Yes,
offer,
the fine life method.
that's how we get our clients. So we offer all angles.
Hmm. So, do you think that maybe, I mean, because we've, ever since you've been working with us, and even, in my business since I started 6 years ago, we've both worked with multiple clients multiple times. So I think what you said is correct. If they didn't have a good experience or good relationship, they wouldn't come back.
No,
Because I've had clients work with other realtors. It happens.
but then they come back.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I've had that
Yeah,
too.
I've had that too. They come back, or we have to mutual release from a listing agreement, and then we go bring the buyer for it.
Yeah.
A year later at a higher price. So I mean, it's when they already sold. So it's one of those things that.
But I think too, and I notice this with yourself, like when we're talking to people, we're not pushing for anything
No.
with them. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And
Mhm.
you're better to walk away from that relationship and try and build it if there's anything to build than to get into a business relationship with them and then completely screw it up.
I agree. I agree. And it's one of those things where, on the Be Revolutionary podcast, we talk about that a lot, where we kind of attract agents to come and work for us. We don't try to sell them to come and work for us. Of course, we know our value prop, just like we know our value prop, but we know we don't, or what are we trying to sell these clients for? The clients are going to make that decision at the end of the day themselves. All we can do is, try to attract the people that we want to work with, so that by the time they're sitting across the table, all the hard work is already done. They
Yeah.
just need to basically say, okay, no, I'm good. So, what do you think? So now let's break it down. Instead of a leadership standpoint, I mean, how do you think an agent on it, like, how do we prepare? And I'm thinking right now about the daily planner and those custom agendas that we made. But I
Which
mean,
are
like,
great, by the way.
oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Andrea, very much. So what do you think makes a strong agent, especially in like their first 1 to 3 years?
Be focused on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something I lacked in my first few years. I just winged it, to be honest. The last couple years, it's been more focused of like, I've always gotten up early. That was part of the other job. But now I get up and I write out my gratitudes and what's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen that day. Like, be focused on track of your plan in your business.
I
I learned
agree.
that from you.
Well, yeah, it's like there's books like Start With Why, by Simon Sinek. How do I say his name? Sinek? No, is it Simon Sinek? Okay, sorry, Simon. Um, I can never say his name. Anyways, so the point of that is that, there's, you always hear mentors, motivational speakers, leaders. They're always talking about get clear on your focus, and I never really understood what that meant for so long, because I'm like, I know what I want. And it's like, no, but you have to break down your goal, break down your purpose, break down your why, and create measurable goals that you can actually hit. And that, like I said, that can be measured so that what gets measured gets improved. So you can focus on the things that you need to do daily in order to hit your goals.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it doesn't seem like an exercise. It just seems like it's,
Comes naturally. Well, I'm
yeah.
still learning because you kind of broke down my team goals today for
Mhm.
me, where I was looking at it going, oh my God. But now it makes more sense.
Exactly. And it's just like to throw out arbitrary numbers without having any, of your KPIs figured out, without kind of understand what it takes to even get one home sold or one agent recruited. It's very difficult to, plan out that day, that week, that year in order to hit those goals. So now that we're talking about the goals, what kind of are your goals? You know, what type of goals should a leader have for a team?
Jeez, that's a big question. I got big goals for our team.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see each agent be successful and do what they want to do in their business
Mm-hmm.
because they've basically told us that. So now it's our job to help get them there.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
absolutely.
Yeah.
They've told you that, hey, okay, I want to make $100,000, $200,000. Now, this is where a real leader comes in, and this is where a real leader will help their team. So, how do we help those agents get there?
So we've been doing training,
Yep.
our new accountability Fridays, which I think is really going to help.
Yeah.
We just had our first one last week, and I was able to narrow down a few things with a couple of them who are super excited to talk tomorrow on their one-on-ones
Mm-hmm.
because they met their goals. And
Right.
those are just little ones, the week by week ones,
Right.
right?
And so, and pretend like you're not talking to me because I know everything that we're talking about. Try to maybe dissect what we're talking about in terms of, let's just say they give you a goal of $200,000. How are we going to help them get there?
So,
Obviously training, but what numbers are we
well, and
breaking
we
down?
also make it smaller numbers.
Right.
So put it into quarterly,
Right.
monthly. So then it doesn't look like a huge
Yeah.
goal, right? Like when you break it down to
Right.
only having to make like 25K a month
Yeah.
or something like that, it makes it look a little bit more achievable to them.
Right. And then from there, I'm thinking like the Google form that we have to submit. So what type of measurables are on that Google form?
So we're able to see their leads, the appointments that they've been on, so we can kind of figure out where we have to help them out
There
in
we
that
go.
direction. So
Yeah.
if you had 20 leads and only got 2 appointments, where are we missing in the gap there?
Right. And it's the same for if you've had 20 appointments and no,
GCI.
what does that mean? Right.
Yeah.
So that's where that saying that we really, really love as leaders, inspect what you expect. Because if you're not getting a good understanding, the numbers don't lie. So if you're fluffing the numbers just to make the Google form look better, you'll become exposed on the Tuesday when you're like, well, where are you in
And
terms
it
of
doesn't take long.
no? Because the only number that really matters is GCI at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So once we are so then how does that meeting work? So I'm here. I asked for 20 new appointments, but I don't have even 2 logged in. What kind of conversation are we having?
So then I just kind of try and figure out, well, what happened during the week that stopped the
Yep.
appointments from happening? And a lot of times you'll find their personal life gets involved. Maybe it's a time management thing. So then we reassess their goal for the next week.
Right.
Maybe take the focus off of getting those appointments and put the focus on learning to time block. Like ask
Right.
them if they time block. Let's see your calendar. Okay, they don't have no structure.
Right.
Right. So then obviously we're going to backtrack and
Mhm.
figure out the structure for them so then they can get back on track to getting their appointments
That's
instead of
right.
feeling so scatterbrained, I guess you'd call it.
That's right. And I feel that if the actionables, the measurable goals aren't being logged, aren't being achieved, I feel it's usually one of 2 reasons. One, they're just not doing it, in which means we have a disconnect between what we really want in this business and what you want out of the team. Or number 2, which is most of the time, is just that they're not time blocking effectively. So when you started time, you still use pen and paper though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
I
good.
love a good pen and a notepad. You
Right.
know
So do
this.
I, but at least I input it into.
Oh,
Are you inputting now?
I have my Google Calendar filled out with my time blocking. Yeah.
See, good.
Yeah.
Crystal's old school, still opens up her planner, which is important. I feel that writing it physically down, not only are you putting it out into the universe a little bit more, but you're also kind of retaining that information a little bit more.
Crystal is also old.
Right. But, I like to have it on me too. Like,
Yeah.
so I could be like, oh, after this, I got to go. Pa, 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 pa.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, so, what are some effective ways that, or examples that an agent can kind of start time blocking?
Sorry, can you backtrack on that
Like
for me?
if somebody like, okay, let's use me for instance.
Right.
I had a goal of those 20 showings and you come up to me like, why didn't you do it? Well, man, I didn't have time. Or
Oh.
20 calls. Let's start there because that's easy. I didn't have enough time.
So literally I break down well, what wasn't enough time? And then it really turns into, well, I had to pick up the kids from here. I had to do this. I had to do that.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, what is one day that you definitely know you can sit down and do this?
Mm.
Instead of making them feel like it has to be a daily thing.
Yeah.
Like if you can sit down for 3 hours on a Wednesday afternoon and make your calls and get it done, then get it
Mhm.
done. Right. So I'm really just learning along this process with them too. So tomorrow for our one-on-ones, a couple
Mhm.
are bringing me their time blocking. So then I'll kind of go with the flow on that as well. But I just think we make our own chaos.
I agree. And if there's something that I would add, it would be, we talk about setting our goals, setting our professional goals, setting our personal goals. And it's amazing that, some people can always make it to the gym at the same time, but you keep making it to their phone calls, or you know what I'm saying? It's like I was that way too. Like I would never ever miss a gym session, especially if it's planned out. Okay, I got to do back and biceps on Tuesday. I got to do triceps and chest. I always have to have my protein after my workout. Then I got to go and get some eggs, and then I got to. If you can manage that, you can manage time blocking in your
But going to
business.
the gym is always a positive thing for people.
Yeah, so
Making
is
calls.
making money.
No, hold on, let me finish.
All
So
right, I'm
that's what I
listening.
mean.
Okay,
Most people
level.
look at that as a negative because
Right.
then you get one mean person on the phone
Right.
and, then it's over with. Where the gym, they look as a positive. But yeah, making money's good.
Yeah, but also while you're working out, you're going through uncomfortability. You're
That's
ripping your
different though.
muscles. I
You're doing it to yourself, right? You don't have somebody kind of belittling you on the other end of the phone or making you feel like that's what I find the biggest objection
all
is from
right.
our team,
Okay.
right?
Well, you know what? I think this is why we have you on your position and me on my position. Because if it was just me, I'd be like, no, no bullshit. Do it.
You still do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're salespeople, we're business owners. You kind of have to have that attitude. But I understand, why that could come off a little harsh. So that's why you're here. But at the same time, it's like, for me, if your goals are so clear and you've got that burning desire to hit these goals, there should be no reason that, something as small as asking for business is slowing you down.
I was listening, or maybe it was one of the books I was reading, or one of the podcasts I was listening to. But you got to look at the no's as yeses because
Mm-hmm.
that helps you grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like that Mario level reference that I use. You can't you can't expect to beat, you pick up your brand new Super Nintendo or regular NES, whatever. It's the first time picking up a brand new game, Super Mario, never come out. You never heard about it. You never knew how to play it. Never seen anybody play it. You pick up the controller, you're ripping through the game, and you jump into the hole and you die. That's not the be all and end all of your journey.
Right.
That's just the beginning, because you are learning that, oh, shoot, I've got to jump over that hole, right? So I'm not going to go through the whole analogy. You've all heard it, I'd imagine. But this kind of is a good segue, because for me now, what I'm learning, especially going through all of this, building the business with you, building the relationships with everyone, and building out multiple markets, building out the podcast, it's very clear to me now that it's not. And remember, we would say, so what do you want in life? And somebody will say, well, I want money, or I want this. Yeah, but why? Why? It always comes down to this. I just want the freedom to live my own life. Yeah, but what does that actually look like? And when I have time to reflect on it now, it's that it truly is the journey, not the destination. I know that sounds corny, but if you think about it, life is the journey. Because what happens when you get to your first goal, you've accomplished it, there's another one.
Yeah.
Never being satisfied. You keep going. But if what I was doing was something I hated, but still led to that goal of making, 5 million, 10, whatever, is that really making me happy? Because I've thrown my life away.
Right.
So that's what I want people to think about, is that it's the journey, not the destination, because your journey is your life. That was neat, wasn't it?
Was.
I just thought
It's
about
good.
that. Just thought about that right now.
I'm sure we'll hear that tomorrow.
Yeah. Did anybody write that down? Sam, can you edit this for tomorrow so we could play it in the? No. Yeah. All right. This podcast is sponsored by Vision Lux Water, by the way. Okay. All right. So we talked about, how to help support the agents. Now, let's just say somebody's watching this. They're not on a team. Maybe they don't have support of their brokerage. Where is a good place for that agent to start, killing 2023? I know it's going to be a tough year, but where would you begin if you had to redo this all over again?
So are we talking from someone who's just doing the business on their own?
Yeah.
I would start following people on social media,
Mm-hmm.
watch where their businesses are growing and going, what
Mm-hmm.
direction they're taking. Maybe interview a few teams, see
Yeah.
if they have something to offer. One thing backtracking about myself is
Yeah,
I
please.
always say, like, I can't put a dollar on what the team has given me in my business, right? So sometimes, everyone wants to do the solo thing. You want to get your name out there, but you still have that potential to get your name out there.
Mm-hmm.
But then having the Fine Estates team behind my name made it even better for me,
Right.
right? Gave me that confidence to go out and be like, oh, yeah, this is what I do and I can do this good for you.
Right.
So I think it would just be a lot of researching and always continue to educate yourself. Even if you don't join a team, listen to podcasts, read some
I agree.
books,
Yeah.
right? Grow.
And so what kind of things are you doing in your business to kind of help you? Like what kind of podcasts, YouTube videos?
So I listen to a lot of
Are there
coaching stuff.
Yeah.
I've been following the YouTube videos that you send. Like, I'm not a big technical person. I don't I've been reading.
Yeah.
So I've
Good.
already done Sales Truth this year, and
Yeah.
now I'm on Traction. So I'm pretty proud
Okay.
of myself that I'm into
2
two
books already and it's
like a
January?
boss. Yeah. But I'm listening to it.
So why do you think that reading or listening um to books or YouTube videos, why do you think that's important?
Well, for me right now, I'm connecting it with everything that we've been trying to do with the team.
Mhm.
So now I'm like, oh, aha. Oh, this is what we need to do. Or this is what I need to do to move to the next step.
Yeah.
Or this is why you asked me to do that.
Right.
Where, I think I said this to you last week. I was strong in my management position at the Avondale, but that's a
Mhm.
different kind of management.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm almost like starting all over again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, managing self-employed realtors
It's
is
not easy.
it's not easy, comparative to
People who are getting paid by the hour
right.
and coming in and doing that job. Yeah. So I'm trying to teach myself, okay, if I had, well, I have you overseeing me, but if I had a VP of
Barely.
sales coming to me all the time, how would I want to be treated?
Right.
Like I'm trying to provide them with more value than like an
Mhm.
intimidation thing.
Right. And then I come in with the big intimidation. Paige is rolling her eyes right now as soon as I said that.
She's our intimidating one.
Is she? Yeah. Yes, that's true. She is. Um, I like that a lot, and I think that for those newer realtors, um, I really think that what you said earlier when we started the podcast was, getting clear on your goals, creating measurable actions, and then of course, time blocking is absolutely huge.
I never believed that before.
I know, right? It's because, and it's the same reason why we compartmentalize. Is that a that's it is right? Yes. So that's the reason why we kind of divide or single out specific roles. If we're getting the success that we want, eventually, a VP of sales wouldn't need to work with buyers because the buyers are almost like a potential, branch in the spokes, right? Because anything can happen. There's a lot of variables. While focusing on sellers can really help you narrow down your focus on what you really need to do. Time blocking is kind of the same thing. You're blocking out all the variables to focus on the one thing that is going to contribute to the overall goal.
Yeah.
So, what's kind of next for you? Where do you want to go from here? Like, what do you
Uh,
have goals
I do have goals.
outside of what we already talked about?
Like outside of real estate or inside of the
No,
team
just
or
outside of the team's goals. Like, I know you want all the agents to succeed and you want them to live that lifestyle, live that fine life. But what about you?
well, I would eventually like to be your face on the team.
Yeah, kick me out.
Yeah, yeah, you're gone. You're gone. More of a leadership role. I'd like to
Yeah,
have more confidence to come out and do stuff like this.
I agree.
I had someone reach out to me over the weekend and say that to me, like, how come you've never talk about real estate?
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. Like I do, but I talk to my clients about real
yeah,
estate. I don't talk to other realtors about real estate. So
right.
I think that that's going to be a big step for me with our
I
team
love that.
this year.
I love that because we're putting out more events. We're doing client events, but we're also doing realtor events that we want to plan for this year. We've got 6 events planned out so far. We
Yeah.
really should lock in the other 6. But you're absolutely right. And so where you have the advantage over me is that I chose, Tom Story brought this up on the podcast. I chose visibility over ability first, where you have now got the credibility and ability, and now you can move forward into the visibility, where I had to kind of fake it till you make it kind of thing,
You
right?
did a good job.
Yeah, I like to think I did. We had 50 plus referrals last year out of 90 something deals. Not all of them came together, of course, but 50 referral connections from other agents. It was a beautiful thing. So anything else you want to add? We're just about at that time.
Oh no, I think I'm okay. I survived. I
Yes,
survived.
Crystal is very nervous, by the way, guys, just to let you know. But no, thank you very much. And we really appreciate you here on the team. And I don't think I could have done this without you at all. So
Vice versa. Thanks for
I
having me.
appreciate it. Okay, thanks, everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, Instagram, send me a DM if you have any questions. And I forget what you have to do on Spotify, but click follow, I think, and the notification bell. Boom. What? Download as well. We need downloads. We need streams. Thank you, everybody.